Good everyone, on this video, and today we have a review on the Russian B-25 J-30. As you're probably going to notice in the replays part, and not only that, the difference of gameplay that I had planned for this, um, I had a small technical issue with the Russian B-25 video. The map that I had, really didn't render properly, and like, in the actual video, the gameplay just looked all buggy and stuff, and I thought I didn't really want to publish that sort of thing. And not only that, most of the video was just me ranting. To be brutally honest, I just gave this thing a really bad review, which I really shouldn't have done. There is some bad points about this aircraft, and I'm not going to give my opinion just yet. But I wanted to make it a bit more less one-sided to the negative side. So this is a redo, as you're probably going to notice. So the Russian B-25 J-30 comes in at 1,450 Golden Eagles. Do I think it's worth that price? Short answer, no. There's a big fat reason for that, but we'll get into that very shortly. Now, it does have a few redeeming features, which, let's be real, it's better than most of the Russian bombers around this BR range. It's better than the Peshkas, it's better than the Yurs for one simple reason of that it can actually get to its bombing target, and it just feels better to play than those, so at least it has that going for it. It has very good nose armament of 650 caliber machine guns plus a single 50 cal operated by a gunner. And additionally, it also has good all-round coverage with its gunners. Now, there are quite a few blind zones, such as directly beneath the aircraft, and most of the area across the, shall we say, like the top right of the aircraft and the top left. Meaning, in order to shoot at a target, you either have to rotate the top turret around or try to turn the aircraft to get the 50 cal machine guns on target. Realistically, that is the best angle to approach a B-25 due to its flight characteristics and how poor they are in some cases. So let's go over the aircraft in a bit more detail. Let's go into the X-ray. So as you can tell, we have 650 caliber machine guns, as already mentioned, with 400 rounds each. There's 4 on these gun pods on the side, and then there's 2 in the nose just here. There's the nose gunner here with a single 50 cal with 300 rounds, so he doesn't really have much use sat there, but at least it's an extra 50 cal in the nose, I suppose. You then have your 2 pilots. You have the top turret, which has 400 rounds per gun, so you have 800 rounds total in this top turret. He's not very well protected, and the pilots aren't really greatly protected, but at least it's better than the poor side gunners. The side gunners have 250 rounds each and have hardly any armor to protect them, which we'll cover in a second. And the tail gunner, which is arguably the best position on this aircraft, has pretty good armor protection and also has the most ammunition in terms of gunners. If we include overall ammunition capacity, though, the nose guns have more ammunition to actually use for the most part, but at least this guy can at least stay in the fight a lot longer than the top turret can. So let's go into the armor. As you can see in the rear, we have a single 38mm bulletproof glass segment, and we also have a bit of steel, which is 9.5mm thick. Realistically, this isn't going to stop much, and concentrated fire on the tail section will kill the gunner anyway. So even though this is arguably the best position for the gunners, it's still not great. We then have the poor side gunners, which only have this to protect them, and that's not going to stop anything. The dorsal gunner has a front and rear section of plating of 9.5mm. The pilots get a bit of protection with 9.5 around the sides and 8mm on their seats. And the nose gunner has a bit of lower protection and also rearward protection, however, no frontal protection. Realistically, that's only going to stop light caliber machine guns, and given you fight the US a lot, that's not going to make a lot of difference. So let's go into the bomb load of this aircraft, because it has quite a few different bomb loads, as you can tell. Now it has access to 12 50-kilogram bombs, 4 250-kilogram bombs, 8 100-kilogram bombs, 8 50-kilogram bombs and 2 250-kilogram bombs, 10 50-kilogram bombs, and a 500-kilogram bomb. We then have 4 100-kilogram bombs and 8 50-kilogram bombs, which is the bomb load you're going to see today. And then what I call the base bombing payload is this one, the 3 Fab 500-kilogram bombs. These take all 3 to take out a base. I believe you can kill a base with the second bomb load that I showed. The Fab 100 times 4 and the 8 Fab 50s. That can take out a base, but you need the full bomb load to do it. Same with the Fab 500s. However, if you get a down tier, you can pretty much wipe out a base with 2, but you will have to use the third to finish it off. Alternatively, you can just wait for a teammate to use their bomb load on it to finish it off, and use the last bomb you have for another base. That's what I would personally recommend. In terms of your guns, I'd recommend Universal for your 12.7s, and for your offensive, I'd recommend ground targets. So overall, it has very good armament. The problem is it has sponge tail syndrome. Its tail is way too fragile. Its wings are extremely fragile as well. They are very vulnerable to catching fire due to the large fuel tanks. And whilst this aircraft does have very good boosters for a premium aircraft, as we're going to see down here, 284% RP gain and 460% SL gain, as you can tell, the King Cobra blows it out the park. And the King Cobra gets a lower BR, better all-round versatility, and most importantly, is only 150 G more. As you're going to see in that aircraft review, which won't be for a while yet, but because that is the last aircraft that I have to do. I'm doing that today because I had to re-record the B-25, so I thought I'd do the P-63 later. But that's the last review you're going to see, and personally, I would go with the King Cobra any day of the week. And I cannot recommend this plane to people just because it's just not that it's versatile, but if you're really buying an aircraft to do what I'm about to show you in this gameplay, you're not really planning your usage of GE very well, is all I'm saying. So let's get into the gameplay and I can point out what I mean by specific gameplay uses of this aircraft. So in this battle, I have a daily task that I needed to do. It was kill 18 ground targets using a bomber. And this is one of the best uses of this aircraft. Now, of course, we have no air kills in this battle, and we don't really do a lot for helping the team other than killing ground targets and popping the bases. But to be honest, it's certainly better than nothing. As you can tell, we have 2 B-6s on our team. We also have a Chinese B-25, and we have me and my Russian B-25. As you can tell, I'm controlling the airspeed of the aircraft. It does rip above 380 miles an hour. I am currently at 0 throttle, that's why the engines sound very quiet. But if there's one thing this thing does do well, it's gun pass. Or gun passes, I should really say. Kill number 1 on a machine gun, and kill number 2 on a machine gun. It's certainly a very good aircraft for doing this sort of mission. That's why daily task. That's why I wanted to do it in this aircraft. And it's certainly very good at doing so. Now my aim was a bit poor there, I'll be brutally honest, but of course I'm keeping an eye out for enemy aircraft, because obviously sponge tail syndrome. And this is where I drop one single 50-kilogram bomb to try and kill that ground target, which unfortunately misses. And for the most part, we're just going to be going through with the nose guns and laying waste to these ground targets. And as you can tell, this thing does a very good job of doing that. That's certainly one thing to redeem itself about. But the trouble is that this aircraft is only really limited to doing that. it's not really meant to do anything else. I mean, yeah, you can play heavy fire and go intercept mode and intercept enemy bombers, which it can actually do that pretty well. It can defend itself reasonably well, but not in an up tier, because you will get shredded by F-82s and 190 A8s. And just overall, the King Cobra, to me, I had a lot more fun in. And that's why I wanted to redo this review. And obviously you're seeing this review before any of the others, like realistically speaking, like I think the Russian B-25 I plan to do after, I think it was the A7M1, I may be wrong about that. Obviously it depends on which order is on my hard drive, because I'm doing them in order of me playing them. But I think the Russian B-25 was one of the last ones, so you're not going to be seeing this one for a little bit. But the P-63 is kind of a spoiler because that thing is amazing, I absolutely love it. But yeah, all I'm saying is don't buy this, just buy that. So, yeah. So as you saw there, a teammate just took out that Q-67, and I think it was the Chinese B-25 that did that, took out half of that base over there, and the BE-6s only took out one base. This is where I decided to use some of my bombs, however I didn't know how many it would take. I guessed, I think 6 is what I dropped. I think I dropped 6. No, I dropped 5. And that actually ends up being enough, which surprised me. Now in this bomb load, the 50 kilograms drop first and then the 100s. So just bear that in mind, you're dropping the smaller ones first and then the big ones. Well, somewhat big ones. They're the biggest bomb load that you can really strap to it without strapping in the 250s, which I don't recommend the 250s, they're not that great. But as you can tell, we're getting harried right now. We are being shot to shit by the AAA. We've already taken, well, most of the crew is already heavily wounded. And, well, this aircraft is leaking like a sieve. But we managed to take out 3/4 of the base almost with our remaining bomb load that we had left in the bomb bay. And I just go back to farming ground targets, because that's really all I need to do. I've done my daily at this point in the battle. I just thought, well, I might as well use the last of my 50 cal ammo and just go for more. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, the flight characteristics of this aircraft, the roll is very poor and the rudder is very poor. The rudder is arguably the worst control surface. The elevator is much better than the roll and the rudder characteristics, but even then, the elevator does start to compress quite early on. And it is certainly very good at doing that, and that's me out of ammunition in the nose guns. And because I'm leaking like a sieve and I've been harried by getting smacked in both engines and both fuel tank, well, all the fuel tanks I should really say, and also both engines have taken a bit of damage, I decided to cut my losses and return home. But as you're going to notice, the last 2 enemy pilots are going to prove to be a bit of, well, I say 2, the P-61 has just gone down. That guy over there in the P-51C-10, Poker Face 33, he must be a Lady Gaga fan. At least I think it was Lady Gaga that did that song. My brain is not really working this morning. And as you saw there, I did a turn and the aircraft tried to stall itself out. I actually had to pop the flaps to do that, or to pull myself out of that. But as you're going to notice, the Chinese P-47 is about to make a major mistake and is actually about to get his ass kicked. And that just leaves me, the Chinese B-25 that I mentioned at the start, a TA-154 and a VF-109. Now, Poker Face could have actually carried this match, but it doesn't go in his way. I mean, it doesn't help that I was training his tickets, so that certainly didn't apply to him, like, being under pressure. But as you can tell, he's out of ammunition. He's just crippled the... well, I think he's about to engage the P-47, but of course he's out of ammunition. And as you can tell, people are just saying eliminate the P-51, eliminate the P-51. So I figured, whilst they're distracted over there, I'll go and see if I can... well, I know I can finish off this base with my bomb load. So I decided to do so. Now at this point, there's only medium tanks left on the enemy's positions on this frontline map, and frontline tends to be quite common for this thing, I've noticed, or at least maps similar to it. I think I only dropped 3 bombs there. 350s, I think. I only dropped a couple. I don't remember how many I dropped. I think I dropped 3. Yeah, 3. I dropped 350s there. But the base burns down. That is all of their base is destroyed, and now it's just the airfield. But realistically, I'm not going to kill the airfield in this plane. Now, that is a bug with the replay. It says my bomb doors are open, which they are, but there's no bombs in there. There is bombs. There's 9 of them in there. There's, I believe, 5 50-kilogram bombs left, and the 4 100-kilogram bombs. Now, when you're at lower speed, the elevator is definitely the best part of this aircraft. As you'll notice, I'm dropping the 50s in 2s. I'm not trusting them as a solo pair. I'm dropping the 50-kilogram bombs as 2s purely on the basis that I don't know if they're going to kill. And as you saw there, fair enough, it was my fault I missed. But they just don't have the explosive punch like a 100-kilogram bomb does. So coming in for my next drop, I drop a single bomb, which I believe is a 100 at this point. And that's another ground kill for me. I think I have 3 100-kilogram bombs left at this point. But as I was saying about the control surfaces, and there goes another 100. The roll starts to feel a bit better around 200 miles an hour, but the elevator is still the best control surface by far on this aircraft. But even then, you're going to have to watch it above 320 miles an hour, because it really does start to compress at those sorts of speeds. So I drop another bomb there, which lands perfectly on the enemy tank. That's another one, and that leaves me with, I believe, 1 more bomb in my bomb bay. Again, it's another 100-kilogram bomb. But this is certainly what this aircraft can do very well. I have to give it that. It's very good at doing dailies. Specifically for bombing a single base and killing ground targets, because as you can tell, it mops up like a trooper. But I just can't warrant people spending 1450 GE on that basis. So that's the end of the match right there. Pokerface is about to be taken out. Well, in fact, he's not about to be taken out. What I meant was, he is going, because 2 of our planes actually died trying to kill him. He was running to his runway, which realistically was the only thing he could do. But we end up winning the match due to tickets, as they only have a sliver left thanks to all my bombing and taking out of ground targets. So realistically, I cannot recommend this aircraft for 1450 GE. If you really need to do a daily task and you really want to use the Russian tree, just use a Peshka. The Peshka is the best cheap alternative. Or should I say, free alternative. I just can't warrant people spending their money on a Russian B-25 in this day and age with the current bomber damage models. Realistically, if you really want a Russian bomber to do your work for you, just get a B-6. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's video on the Russian B-25, and I will catch you all on the next one.